I didn't really pay attention to him until maybe 2 years ago. We played against Golden State. And Steph was hurt, Draymond was hurt, and we was playing against him. And he wasn't playing a lot of minutes, but he did a move and he scored on me. He hit a shot. He hit a three, and he started talking shit.
All right, one of my favorite players. I've said this before. If there's two guys in the NBA to hit a shot in the last 10 years, it's Dame Lillard and Steph Curry. Love everything about him, his loyalty, his intensity, his smarts, his art. And I used to live in Portland for 6 years, so when you watch him here on YouTube, I don't know where you live, and I'm not going to ask for a street address, but that shit looked good.
No, I'm actually at our in the back of our practice facility. We got a stretching area, and I usually come back here as a mat. It's nice. You see why I'm back here, basically. You see why this is my spot.
In a weird way, Dame, you're perfect for Portland. Weber State, you were allowed to carry it. They put their arms around you. You've been incredibly loyal. You go back annually. You play every minute in those games. And I loved Portland when I was there. Now, for my career, I kind of needed to get to the next level. Right. But, I get it. They love the team. And do you ever feel like, from high school, college to pro, that maybe because of your size, you were overlooked initially, and that maybe you're just one of those NBA guys that you're more loyal? Just your DNA is you're just a loyal dude. I mean, I don't know you well enough to say that, but you're not really interested in chasing things other guys are. And that maybe that just comes from your parents. Where does it come from?
I think that's right. It comes from my upbringing and the kind of environments that I was raised in, the kind of people that I was raised by. It's not so much that I got such a huge issue with other people doing what they choose, with their career. That's what feels good to them, and that's what makes them happy. I don't have an issue with that. But for me personally, I come from a cloth and a environment and neighborhood and family of people that, embrace finding a way. I think you hear a lot of people say, the most fun is in the journey, in the process. And,
right.
Once you reach whatever it is that you reached, it's you have that moment of triumph or joy or happiness or celebration or whatever. But most of, what you enjoyed and what was fun was the process of you getting to that point.
Right.
And that's what I come from. I know who I am as a person, and I know how it would feel for me to accomplish what I want to accomplish in the way that is satisfactory to me, and when I think about, ways outside of that, I just know that, I would be happy in whatever that moment was, but it wouldn't feel how I want it to feel, and I'm content with that. I'm comfortable with that. And I understand that, I play in the era where it's oh, he has never won a ring. This guy didn't do that, and they try to downgrade everything that you've done and what you're capable of and how good you are and things like that. And, I can live with that too, and I think that's just where I am. I can live with that because I know that I put my best foot forward. I know my character is true. I know I am who I say I am. And, I'm fine with going about it the way that I want to go about it.
So I'm going to throw a theory at you. I do this from time to time. You tell me if I'm crazy. I'm going to say great point guards. Steph, Davidson. Ja Morant, smaller school. Dame Lillard, Weber State. You start looking around the league. A lot of point guards. You start naming them around the league.
Yeah.
Chris Paul, Wake Forest. James Harden, although not a classic point, Arizona State.
Yeah.
When you go around point guards, my thing is, a lot of the wings and bigs, they come from big schools. But the reason a lot of the point guards come from smaller schools, because you got to have a chip on your shoulder. This is a big man's league, and the point guards in this league had to carry less talented people in college.
Yeah.
And Damian, this happens in the NFL. Almost all the great quarterbacks, they didn't go to Ohio State. They didn't go to Oklahoma. You know where they went? NC State, Texas Tech, because you have to figure out how to carry less talented people. And I look at you and I think, you've been asked to carry a program since you were 17 years old.
Yeah.
So do you think my theory's nuts?
I don't think it's nuts at all. And I also think it's not just having a career program, but it's the development of, your development as a player and as a man. You look at a lot of those small school guys you just named, and we came into a situation where we had to buy into a program. We had to buy into culture and to a belief that it's like, this is the program that you're joining. It wasn't like we came in there and they was like catering to us and, making sure we was comfortable and making sure they didn't step on our toes. It was like, look, when I got to Weber State, my coach said, if you don't want to show up to class on time, if you don't want to be at every practice and work hard, if you don't want to be coachable, if you want to, get in trouble and chase girls around campus all the time and give us a bad reputation, just don't come, like we just gonna send you home. So don't come. And I was the best recruit that they had, and they told me that from jump. So like when you're a part of something like that, I was there for 4 years, and they basically raised me and they taught me to keep a standard and, how to lead and how to be the example and how to be accountable for myself, and to care about other people, to do things beyond myself. And that helped me, become a better leader, but it also made me a player that could pull other people along, with my ability. So, when you look at that compared to if I would have went to Kentucky, where it's like, I'm going here knowing like, I don't really got to even be that class for real. Like, I just got to get through this season and I'm going top 14, so I think it's just different, and I think when you get to the NBA and it requires so much responsibility. It requires you to be able, in the NBA where everybody's making the amount of money we make, guys aren't going to listen to you or follow you or, believe in you if you don't have those characteristics, and I think that's why you see a lot of guys that are talented enough and, they come in with hype, but, people looking at them like, man, this dude's selfish, like he out for self and they're not going to follow you. And that leads to losing.
I've talked about this, that baseball doesn't have a salary cap. Broadcasting doesn't have a salary cap. So I can't really relate to this. But I do think when you watch Brooklyn play last couple of years, they just don't have a bench. They got a lot of money at the top. Lakers, they don't have a great bench. Warriors will have to probably get rid of Andrew Wiggins. You won't have as much depth. But I'm not going to tell a guy to not take the most money he can. Like, as a professional athlete, you have a music career that makes money. You have an apparel career that makes money.
Yeah.
If I was your agent and I said, Dame, listen, you're very lucky. Basketball players have apparel money. Football guys don't. You have music because you're gifted there. Most athletes don't. Is it offensive to say, I'd take a little less to get like a really couple solid role bench guys? Like if somebody says that to you or suggests it, are you like, whoa, I got like 8 years to make my money? How does a pro athlete see that in salary cap sports when they're a star, especially?
Well, I think there's multiple ways to look at it. For me personally, I know that I've made max money over my last 2 contracts. But I'm also looking at, when I look around the league, like you use Brooklyn as an example, and you use the Lakers as an example. Those 2 teams have 2 guys making basically the same number that I'm making. We have 1. So the way I look at that is we still have opportunity to have a balanced roster. Now I've actually taken less money. Like my first max extension, I didn't get the full max. I took less money. And, our team was kind of in the same position. It was like my work and what I was coming to do every season was the same. So the next time it came around, it wasn't a situation where I was like, oh, am I going to take less money or am I not? It was like, this is on the table. I'm taking it, like that's what was on the table. But in a situation where if they were to come to me and say, we could get this done with this happening, I would definitely be willing to listen, but the reason for that wouldn't be because of what money I make outside of this. You know what I mean? Like,
let me throw this at you. You're going to age well because you're a shooter. And I've said this before. Like I said this on the air years ago. Russell Westbrook is a great athlete. I don't know if he'll age well because when you get slower and can't beat people off the dribble, there's always room in this league for shooters. I mean, Steph Curry and you could play forever.
Yeah.
Kobe. But there does become a time where it's like, I don't want to play 9 minutes a night. You have many years left as a marquee player. Do you ever think about how it'll end? Will you be like, man, if I could go to a winning culture, first guy off a bench, I would have no problem if you're like, it's not my jam. But part of me thinks, man, if I was tight with guys, I love my crew. How does a star think about it? Do you ever even think about that? Is that ever in your mind?
I do. I think about it, not I'm going to go somewhere and get him off the bench. I never think about it in that way, but I do think like, when I'm not at the height of my career anymore, but I'm still a player that can be a part of winning just because of my mentality, and I can shoot the ball. I think the game well. I see the game well. Wow. I watch a lot of film, so I know what I'm up against, every night. I can play a long time. But I think like, the way I look at it is like the next 5 years, 6 years, I know that I can be very good because I don't live a hard life. When I step off the court, I'm not doing crazy. I don't do drugs and out all the time drinking and staying up late. I take care of myself. So I know that's going to give me a great chance to play. I take care of my body. I train the right way. And like you said, I can shoot the ball and I'm a student of the game. So, once I get past that point and I'm like, okay, I'm not in my prime no more, but, I can still give a team some good minutes. I'm not, I don't want to just be out there being a liability. That's what I'm not going to get to that point. But when I get to that point where it's like, I'm not what I was, but I'm still a good player and I can help a team, I definitely can see myself doing it. It's crazy. Me and him would always talk about, we knew this moment would come. Eventually, if we couldn't win a championship, we would tell each other, if we don't win a championship in the next couple of years, like, it's going to be over.
Fellas, have you started spring cleaning yet? Yes, the drapes, the carpets, your lawn needs mowed. Spring is sprung, and the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming have the best tools for cleaning aisle 5. Join the other 4 million men worldwide. Go to Manscaped, 20% off, free shipping with the code Colin, COLIN. They have the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer to get the most precise shave on your hedges, the nose and ear hair trimmer with proprietary skin-safe technology from Manscaped, outstanding. The start of the spring also marks the start of Testicular Cancer Awareness Month in April. Now, that is raising awareness for the most common form of cancer in men ages 15 to 35. Give support for fighters and survivors and families impacted by testicular cancer as part of their We Save Balls initiative. Go to manscaped.com, free shipping, promo code Colin. Time to throw away your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life. I said on the air today on TV, I said, NBA players are like international soccer stars. They become basketball stars and deal with a blowback. They become apparel stars and deal with a blowback. And they also become social icons in fashion or music often. Whereas Josh Allen can be a great quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. That's where it ends. He's not making a zillion in shoes. He's not a music guy. He's not a social icon. Just a big dude with a good arm. Basketball players come into this sport younger than football players or baseball players.
Yeah.
You're thrust into the national spotlight with shoes, with merchandise, with basketball, iconic in often the black community. A lot is asked of you socially, culturally.
Yeah.
And Adam Silver said a couple years ago, he said, a lot of my players are miserable. I get it. I don't see it with you. But is there ever a time, God, Damian, you're out there all the time. Does it get to you? Are you ever like, man, I need a vacation? This social media stuff, you seem to handle it well. And the commissioner said 2 years ago, I got unhappy players here. Like that. And I'm like, and I see KD fire back at guys. You've reached out to me a couple times on social, but you're kind of playful on it. You're fun on it. You know what I mean? You'll go after somebody. But take me to your space. Does it ever bother you, the criticism and the harshness?
Sometimes when I was younger, the criticism really bothered me because I just carried a chip on my shoulder, like about everything, because I felt like I had to earn everything. So every little thing I felt like I had to fight for. But I would say like over the last, 3 or 4 years, I've just been more like, I've learned that people don't really do their homework. People just
right.
People speak on things and react to things on a surface level. And I'm like, everything that I do is like has depth. You know what I'm saying? Like, so people don't take the time. It's easier to say, oh, he just tried to get in the All-Star game. But like, I was mad about not making an All-Star game in 2014, 15. It's like, that was 8 years ago, and people still say that now when really it's like, well, since then, I done made All NBA how many times? I've been first team since then. I've been an All-Star how many times since then? I've averaged 30 points. I've been, I don't miss games all the way up into this season where I, had an abdominal injury. I was out there, I play. I don't sit out of practice. It's like, I just feel like I give my real self. People ask me a question, I tell them the real answer. If I get mad about something, I get mad. If I like something, I like it. And I feel like because I was consistent at being myself, like people wasn't okay with that. It's almost like they rather have something that's pretend or something that's fake. And once I kind of stepped back and realized that, I was less moved by who was saying what, because it's like, they don't even know me. Because if they knew me, there's no way that they would get at me like this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, I'm not really, to answer your question, I'm not as bothered as I used to. Of course, some stuff come up now where I'm like, how could you say this? And then on the other hand, say this. I look at stuff that way now. But I think the reason why I come off as not as bothered by it, because I am a lot of places, I do Gatorade and Adidas and Modelo and all these different things. But I think the reason why I can be at peace and, kind of be cool about all of it is because I don't do anything that's not in line with who I am as a person. So it seems like everything that I do, like Modelo is like, I'm not a big beer drinker, but I do feel like the fighting spirit represents me. You know what I'm saying? Like with Gatorade, you know what I'm saying? Boxing is my favorite sport outside of basketball. I partner with a boxer. My music is playing in the background of the commercial. I drink Gatorade. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
It's easy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like everything that I do that people see me doing is in line with who I am. So I'm not stretching myself thin doing things that is not who I am.
Yep. You're authentic. You're an authentic person.
I just do me,
So CJ McCollum, I have a couple friends that are season ticket holders. Great guy, smart guy. You guys, there were years I had said a couple times on the air, there's a little duplication here. I'd move CJ McCollum. I'd get a wing defender. But you guys work so well together. It's hard. It was almost like the Splash Brothers. You liked each other. You respected each other. You got two 20-point-a-game guys in the backcourt. I mean, the league's moving away from centers to wings and smalls. You're probably not surprised by his success. Like, when I look at the Pelicans, they kind of needed, not a grown-up, but they kind of needed a little bit of like an adult to come into the room and go, okay, all you young chess pieces, I'm going to move you around.
Yeah.
And so I imagine you're not surprised at all by CJ's success and the Pelicans giving the Suns trouble.
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, to go back to what you were saying, like me and CJ had a real friendship. We didn't have one of these like, oh, that's my brother. And, like we spent time together. We went on vacation together. I was at his house. He was at my house. We talked on the phone late at night about, our struggles. You know what I mean? Like, and to this day, we still talk, and that's in my career, this is one of the things I'm most disturbed by, because it's crazy. Me and him would always talk about, we knew this moment would come, eventually, if we couldn't win a championship, we would tell each other, if we don't win a championship in the next couple of years, like, it's going to be over, it's like, it's going to be over. So it wasn't like we didn't know. Like, even the night before he was traded, we was on the phone at midnight, like, I think something about to happen, like something's about to happen. And he was like, yeah, man, we knew. So, it's been tough, but I'm not surprised by it. I said it. I think that he was exactly what New Orleans needed. They got a lot of talent. They got Herb Jones and Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram. And now you add, Alvarado. They got a lot of Murphy, or, is that his name? Trey Murphy, is that his name?
Yep.
I mean, they got a good team. And you add a dynamic, scoring guard that has experience, that's tough, he unselfish. You get a player like that and you put that with them, it makes them dangerous like they are. And I also think that, with me and CJ, it was two guards, and it's hard for two guards to coexist and do well and win big. And we just figured out how to do it because we actually liked each other and we was good.
Sure.
I cared about his success and he cared about mine, and we both just wanted to win enough, But I think naturally a guard goes better with a wing, I just think it's a better fit. So I think him and BI is just it just flows easier to have a guard and a wing instead of two guards.
Yeah. It's funny. Jordan Poole's ascension's pretty amazing. 28th pick. At some point, he's down in the G League. And then I watched him, and I talked to a buddy of mine who's a Warrior fan. I'm like, dude, what's that guy doing in the G League? Freaking, he's explosive. And he's not a catch and shoot guy. He's not Steph the shooter, but there's a little Steph to him. He's got a little flash to his game. Did you see him coming? I mean, did you look at him and think, oh, that guy's going to be 22 a game? Or like, were you caught a little off guard too?
I wouldn't say I was caught off guard because I didn't really pay attention to him until maybe 2 years ago. We played against Golden State and Steph was hurt. Draymond was hurt, and we was playing against him, and he wasn't playing a lot of minutes, but he did a move and he scored on me. And he hit a shot. He hit a three, and he started talking shit. And I was like, I don't talk shit. Like, I don't say nothing. I just play. If somebody say something to me, I'll say something back. But whatever. He said something, so I kind of look back like, what? So we keep playing or whatever, and they had a bunch of young dudes out there, and they was high energy. They had it going that night. When you run up against one of those young teams that just got it going that night. So I think I had 40, but we lost at Golden State. And towards I think it was towards the end of the first half, maybe, or whatever, I'm at the free throw line, and he's just back there just talking. So I turned to him, and I'm like, man, shut the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Shut up. That's how kind of how I said to him. He was like, make me. He was like, make me. So my natural instinct was bro, I train in combat. I'm from Oakland. That was my natural. So we start going back and forth. And then shortly after that, we played him on, I think, MLK Day in Portland. And he was on the bench. And I started the game real slow. And he on the bench, he says, oh, he ain't on shit tonight. That's what he said from the bench. So I turn and look at him. So then Draymond is sitting next to him. And me and Draymond are real cool. So in that game, I end up scoring 60 points. And we beat him in Portland.
I remember that. Yes.
So I end up scoring 60 points. And we beat him. And I just remember telling Draymond, man, I don't mess with that dude like that. I don't like him. But then from those interactions, I paid more attention to him. And as I paid more attention to him, I started to notice his game more oh, he actually got something to him. And he got confidence about him. So like I paid more attention to him and I noticed him getting a lot better. So I can't say he caught me by surprise, but it is impressive to see like the growth. But I think coming under, Draymond and Steph and Clay, you can definitely see the impact that they've had on him. So I mean, it's definitely been impressive though.
By the way, I love Draymond. He's part of my podcast network. I freaking love the guy. I've never had a relationship with a pro athlete who works harder. He works like a broadcaster. I mean, I'm not kidding. The game's over, he like rushes home and does a podcast. I'm like, bro, you don't have to do that. Like, yeah. He is. Why do you think you guys connect? Well, what is it?
I think we connect because like he just is who he is. Like even when people get mad at him and they like, oh, you're not even that good. You just do this, you just do that. He keeps the same energy, and he is who he is. And I can appreciate that because, when people talk, I listen. And when people behave a certain way when they have success, I pay attention. When they behave a certain way when they struggle, I pay attention to that. So Draymond is one of the few people that I can say I respect in all of those situations.
Right.
His response and his reaction in all those situations. And then even in person, when me and him have did like this, he'll step to me, I'll step to him. We done got double text before. And then after the game, we talking, like nothing happened. Just like,
yeah.
But he's being who he really is, and I'm being who I really am. So I think because of that, we've always gotten along really well. And from like the pre-draft, the combine in Chicago, what was it? The rookie transition program, like me and Draymond, we connected over that. And, I remember him talking about like, man, I'm gonna drop to the second round. I'm better than these dudes. And I was telling him like, bro, you're gonna be all right, So like we've always connected like that.
There were rumors about a year ago, maybe less, about Ben Simmons in Portland.
Yeah.
And one of the things I said, I'm like, man, Damian loves basketball. He's not going to be great with this. If you don't love basketball, if you're indifferent, it's not going to work. And Dame, not everybody loves basketball. Some guys love what basketball does for them. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I love broadcasting. Not everybody loves it. They like the check.
Right.
I look at this situation in Brooklyn, and I don't know Ben Simmons, but I'm like, man, if you love it, I mean, Michael Jordan was fighting with a broken toe to play, and the doctors are like, you can't play. You got broken feet. Like, I watch it, and I look at him, and I'm not an expert, but I wonder if he loves the game. And, Dame, have you ever played with guys that you don't think love it?
Yeah, I played with people that I was just like, when it's going well, they really enjoy it, but everything that comes with the game, it's a lot of, you beating yourself up, you're tired, you got to travel, like it. And then there's those times where everybody's going to have that high, win streaks, big scoring nights, hot streak, whatever. It's a lot of things that can get you on a high where you're just loving it. But it's more situations outside of that where it requires you loving the game to push through. And I think when those moments come, which they come often, you notice in a lot of players where it's like, he don't really love it. He enjoys it, but like, if I tweak my ankle in the first quarter, like I'm gonna walk it off. I'm not going to the back. If I do a little something to my wrist, or if something happened where it's not like nothing, but it's a little bit of something, I'm gonna test it out myself before I'm gonna have the training staff come check me out and I'm out the game for like, no, I'm gonna like walk it off. I'm gonna take a shot. I'm gonna do something where I'm testing it myself. Cause like, I want to be out here. It's been a lot of times where our staff would be like, so Dame, tonight, we got a back-to-back tomorrow, what do you think about, tonight, just sitting this one, and then, we'll have you for the second night of a back-to-back. Like, well, I'm playing tonight and I'm playing tomorrow. If I can't play, like, we're going to find out during the game. We're not going to go into this, you telling me, like, I'm going to play tonight if my body don't recover, or, like, we'll see, but it's just, I want to play. I want to be out there, you know? So, and I don't, it takes a lot of love to be that way. Cause I have games where the East Coast road trip, middle of the trip, and I'm in the layup lines, and I'm just like, my body is like, man, I do not want to be out here right now. And I might start the first quarter slow, but like second quarter is going to turn on and it's going to be there. But my love for the game allows me to have that moments.
Yep.
Where it's like, man, I don't want to be out here, but I know something gonna get me there, and then I get there. So you definitely gotta love the game, man. And I don't think it's that many people that really, really, truly love it like that.
Finally. Now this is gonna sound like I just don't know anything, but I'm gonna ask you a music question. So when you're creating a song, does it start with a melody? Is there a lyric? I mean, have you ever driven in your car and you're just thinking about something and you hear something and think it's a sentence? Or is the hook a melody? When you create something, is a lot of it ad-libbed? Or do you go into the studio, you have a real sense? I mean, I've watched a lot of these documentaries on songs. I mean, I was watching one on the Beatles like 2 months ago, and they were sitting there playing for like 40 minutes, and then one of them riffed for like 4 seconds, and they all went, that's it. That's it. Like, take me to the genesis of a song. Where's the hook, the melody? Is it lyrics? Where does it come from?
I mean, for me, it usually comes from whatever the production sounds like. You know, for me, I rap. So
right.
I'll have, a specific producer that I work with because he makes the sound that I typically like. So I'm usually getting a lot of my beats from him. I'll go to the studio and I'll just listen to, say they send me 60 beats. I'll play one. I'll let it play for about a minute. And in that minute, I'll know, like, how do I feel about this? Do this move me anyway? And I'll be like, go to the next one. And they'll play the same, they'll play another one, then I'll be like, go to the next one. And then I'll hear one, and it'll just do something to me. And then I'll be like, loop that. So that the beat will just continue to play. Sure. And sometimes I'll sit there 30 minutes just like, and I'll just be mumbling to myself. Like, it'll literally be like that. I'm in, like, just kind of on the couch, just mumbling to myself. And then I'll go into my notes and I'll find something and I'll be like, it'll be one line and I'll start with that line. And, that usually will determine the direction that I'm going to go in with the song. And once I do that, then it's like, I like to find a way to incorporate some type of melody within that. It's not like, oh, it's going to sound like this. It's going to sound like that. It's like everything is piece after piece for me.
Right.
I think it's different for everybody, but I'm never just like, okay, this is the hook. Okay, I'm going to say this. Okay, this is what, I'm just kind of like piecing it together as I sit there. And then other times I'll hear a beat in the car. I could be driving and I could just start thinking of words. I just start thinking of rhymes in my head. And sometimes I'll write it down so I remember it as just like a foundation or something. And then when I get to the studio, I already have a foundation of what I was thinking at that time. And sometimes I forget how I said it to make it fit into the beat.
Right.
So I got to find it again. But like, that's usually how my process is.
All right. I was concerned that was going to be the worst question you've ever been asked in the history of your career.
Oh, that's a good question because I've always wondered, like, I wonder how other people do it until I was in the studio with Wayne. I was in the studio with Lil Wayne one time. And I was just like, oh, so he just, he was just going from track. He was kind of doing something a little bit similar when I was there, where it was just like, he'd play a beat. He'd just go in there and stand at the mic and just start rapping. He'd just start saying stuff. And then he'd be like, all right, let me hear something else, and then he'll just rap. Like, he just constantly is rapping. So it wasn't like he was writing nothing down. He's just like piecing it together, but on the mic, So it was impressive. But I've seen
By the way,
who are different.
Yeah. How's your abdomen injury?
Oh, good. 100%.
So you're good now?
Good, yeah.
You feel as healthy as you felt?
I feel as healthy as I've felt in a long time. Just like the number one thing, like with my injury that I had, was I've had it for so long. Like the first time I started to deal with it was in like 16, but it wasn't as bad as it got. It was just like at the end of practice, I would be like, it would just be locked up. I wouldn't be able to, like, I can't run anymore, you know? Like, and then the next day I would feel fine. And then it would just lock up at the end. Like the more I pounded on it, it would just tighten up and I would get more uncomfortable. And then the next year it was a little worse. The next year it was a little worse. And then I think last season was not this past season that just finished, but 21 season, that was the worst it had been. And then I think just going from the season straight to getting ready to go play in the Olympics, like by the time I got to Vegas, like at our first practice, like I told Pop and them, like, man, and they was like, just let us know what you need. So I basically limped all the way through like Vegas, through Tokyo, and everybody on the team was like, man, just give us what you can give us. And I was like, shit, I'm here now. So I might as well finish it out. But I think just, that part, I knew it was done. And then I had my wedding coming up. I had my honeymoon planned. I had already paid for everything. So I couldn't schedule the surgery and then the recovery in that window of time, because I got married in September and we got back from the Olympics in like mid-August or something like that. So I just didn't have a window of time. So I was like, whatever, I played through it before. So I took some time off, then I started training again. And then when I came back to training camp, I knew the first day at camp, like, it's going to be a tough year, but I didn't see it getting to the point that it got to. It just kept getting worse. So,
yeah.
I went to see some specialists and they was like, yeah, you need to have surgery. So I just went and did it. And, I know now for sure that I made probably the best decision for my career. So, yeah.
Well, a member of the 75th anniversary team in the NBA, one of the class guys in the league, easy to root for, on a beautiful Oregon afternoon. I appreciate you doing this. You're a busy guy. You got a million people grabbing at you. I'm a huge fan, and this is great. Draymond's gonna love this too. He's a big dog in this podcast world. You could be if you wanted to be, but I really appreciate it, Dame.
No, I appreciate you having me, man, for sure.